Perfect. Hi everyone. My name is Miriam Omodu. I'm a PhD candidate at University of Toronto. I did my master's in law from the University of Cambridge on a Commonwealth shared scholarship. I've won a few scholarships in my lifetime. So I won the Commonwealth shared scholarship, the Cambridge Trust scholarship, the PEO scholarship, the Vanier scholarship, the Delta Kappa Gamma scholarship. Which other one? The New College scholarship. I've won quite a few. So I kind of know what this terrain is about. And I'm the founder of Getting Education Consulting. So we're a social enterprise that exists to basically help you, get scholarships, get into the top schools, and just change your life using education. That's what we do. Like, we just take pride in you changing your life. So let me see who else is here. So we have we have Ashwarya from India, Usman from Lagos, Cleopatra from Botswana, Queen Abib from Ibadan, who wants to go to UBC, Okpai from Dubai, Mimi from Nigeria, Ebenezer, Amaka from Abuja. Somebody seems to be joining us from Peru. Okay, this is amazing. I love when I see an international audience. Latifat is joining us from Lagos, wants to go to Nottingham. Someone says they love me. I love you too, Rosemary. You want to go to Cambridge or Oxford, you can totally do it. Miriam, another Miriam is here, wants to study at MIT. Kofo, Debbie, lots of Miriams. I don't know why I'm attracting so many Miriams. Ebere from Nigeria, Triumph. Fantastic. You're all welcome. See, I don't know if you've come to one of my sessions before, but you really need to feel at home, right? Feel free to ask questions, get a pen and a paper. I don't play when it comes to giving, hot information. So we have Simon from South Sudan. You're all welcome. So today, we're going to be talking about transforming rejections into multiple admission offers. And one of the things I love about this session is the fact that we're actually going to be reviewing some people's applications. This is the second session that we're having. So we're going to be looking at some applications and some CVs, some essays, and we're going to be working together, right, to figure out what is wrong with this essay. Why did this person get rejected? Or what could this person have done better so that they can, increase their chances of getting admission and getting scholarships? Look, the way I see it, the world is your oyster. You can get all these opportunities, but for you to do it, you have to come correct. Okay, so settle in. I have a few questions just before we get started. Actually, before we go, do you know a friend who needs to be here? If you know someone who needs to be here, why don't you just either tag them on social media to my post or Getting's post, or why don't you just go to Getting's page and retweet or forward the email to them? I'm going to give you a minute because I don't want anybody to miss out on anything that I'm going to say today, because this is a game-changing session. So if you know anyone, I want you to please, text them. I'm not going to say anything for the next 1 minute. Send them a text, forward them those same login details that you used to come in here. Forward it to them, right? Or just, tag them on Getting Edu's page and tell them to register. If they register, they're going to get the session, so that nobody will be disturbing you to, explain what they said. Let them come and hear by themselves. Fantastic. So who was here the last time? I had a session last week. Who was here? If you were here, let me know. The session last week was on scholarship secrets, and I taught you guys the scholarship funnel method and how to, really strategize to get the scholarships. You were here, fantastic. So who was also here for the very first document review session? So tell me which one you were here for. Okay, I see a lot of you guys coming back again. So you enjoyed the last session, right? I love that. That's amazing. Okay, so if you enjoyed the session, please let your friends come so that they can also benefit from what you're benefiting. Amazing. So for those of you who were here, I asked this question last week, but I need to ask the people who are here again. See, those of you who were here last week, you already have the right mindset. You know that we're not playing here. So the new guys, right? I want you to say welcome to the new guys. The new guys, say welcome, welcome, welcome to the new people. But the new guys need to know what we do here. They need to understand that we're not playing. So I'm asking you this same question that I asked last week. What does going to graduate school mean to you? So I'm asking you two questions. Just type in the chat, please. What does going to graduate school mean to you? And the second question I'm asking you today is, what is your biggest challenge in writing a statement of purpose? What is the biggest challenge you've had in writing a statement of purpose? right? Safia says, welcome to Operation Level Up 2.0. That's how we do. So what does going to graduate school mean to you? And what is your biggest statement of purpose challenge? What's the challenge you have writing your essays, preparing your application? What is the biggest challenge that you have? And I need to hear from you, because that would give me some insight into some of the things that can, make life easier for you guys and make you very competitive. So once again, go call your friends, right? Okay, so somebody says the biggest challenge is funding. No, that's not the question. What is the biggest challenge with writing your statement of purpose? Tolu, the question you are answering is, what's your biggest challenge with the whole grad school application process? So Amaka says, for me, it's a stepping stone to achieving my career plan. Great. That's what does graduate school mean to you? And then the biggest challenge is using convincing words in your writing. Okay. So Patience says going to grad school is an opportunity to advance her career. Her biggest challenge is linking her work experience. Fantastic. Biggest challenge is crafting an SOP that shows the reason why I'm changing. Please, let's mute ourselves. This is a very important session. Please, let's mute ourselves. The biggest challenge is crafting an SOP that shows the reason why I'm changing my topic. Okay, this is an interesting one from a PhD. For the PhD from the one I did in my master's, that's really not a problem. There's always a way to tell your story, to link your past and your present. But let's move on. Finding a way to write a compelling story that weaves my entire experience into 400 words. So small, short, a little. You just have you don't have that much space to express all your life story. I mean, you've lived for over 20 something years, and then they're telling you to convince them of who you are or why they should give you a scholarship in 500 words. Isn't that rude? That's so rude. Why would they tell you to convince them in 500 words? I think that's also very difficult. Like, I have so much to tell you. So, okay, Dele says doesn't have much of a challenge with SOP, okay? Dami says graduate school is an avenue where I can achieve my career goals. Okay, Ola says, my challenge is writing a statement of purpose that is different. Fantastic. I can't seem to be creative when I write it. Fantastic. You are hitting, when you can identify a problem, then you can know the solution. But if you don't know your problem, you can't know your solution. Adora says, writing a statement that will catch the attention of the supervisor and is tailored to the program. I love this. Graduate school for me will be a proof that I have what it takes, okay? I haven't worked in years, and it's difficult explaining the gap and why I want to go for a master's over 10 years. Look, I'm loving seeing all of this. Biggest challenge is writing an SOP that will sell myself, how to make the little I've achieved impressive enough to achieve the scholarship admissions committee. Fantastic. Writing a captivity. So some of these challenges seem to be similar. So the one thing I'm hearing is you want something that's convincing, right? You want something that's convincing. You also have like a challenge of, either explaining something that's happened to you in the past, right? Maybe, you've had like a gap in your career or your education or something, or you're trying to make a career switch and you just want to make sure that you're selling yourself the right way. And I think those are the right things you need to have in mind. Okay, so today we're really focusing on the statement of purpose and the CV. In the boot camp, we talk about everything from recommendations to asking for more money to all of that. But if I want to teach you that today, it will take me 15 hours. So I have to just focus today on the CV and the statement of purpose. So we can talk about the boot camp later. So let's go into it. So as I said last week, I explained to those who were here last week, but you people should not, don't be selfish. Let me explain to the people who are just coming for the first time. For me, grad school, I grew up in Ibadan in Nigeria, and I think Ibadan is one of the best places to grow up anyway, but don't let me just get into that. I say that all the time. But going to grad school for me was an opportunity to level up in my life. I grew up I grew up okay, but I mean, there's space for more, right? So it was an opportunity for me to change my own life. And that is what, that was my goal. I wanted to change my life. I wanted to have financial freedom. I wanted to be able to, pay my bills without having to calculate. I wanted to be able to, say, just vex and say, I want to take my mom to the Bahamas, right? That's what I wanted, you get. And one of the things, I actually didn't say this the last time. One of the reasons why I decided to go to grad school is I was telling myself that if I continue in the job that I'm doing, or if I continue where I am in life, in the next 25 years or 20 years, will I be able to pay for my child to go to Harvard? The moment I thought about that thing, my head Like it was as if something just woke up in my head. Like, oh my God, if I continue in this job, even for the next 20 years, if my child is brilliant enough and gets admission to Harvard for undergraduates, I may not be able to pay. I said never. I said I need to move to a place in life where if my child is brilliant enough to say this is the kind of education that they want, I must be able to, I should be able to afford it. So you have something that is motivating you. And the reason why I always ask this question is if you don't have what is motivating you on this graduate school journey, you will drop out. It's not a course. You will drop out. You will not finish. Next year, you will start looking for getting and say, getting, help me, help me. You need that internal ginger that nobody can give you. Anytime I'm tired, I'll just be like, hey, my child may want to go to Harvard, I need money. So that for me was a big deal. Forget even about saying, oh, I want to go to Bahamas, I want to chop my life. For me, it's like, what kind of legacy am I going to give to my children? What kind of opportunities am I going to give to them? Are they too going to be looking for scholarship? I said, I beg, let me look for the scholarship so that I can pay for them when they're ready to go. That's my motivation, though. And I'm being very honest about it. That's my motivation. So what's your motivation? So my mom, obviously, my children, and also living a baby girl life. You understand? Sorry, if you're sending me a direct message, I won't be able to read it because I'm, really trying to help everyone at the same time. So if you have any questions, please put it in the general chat. So I'm not going to go too much into this. I just think, me explaining what is my motivation can help you think that when this road gets tough, what is that one thing that will make me realize that I must not give up? And guess what? My hard work is paying off. In fact, these days I've even been lazy because, not lazy, but there's just so much going on in life. But the kind of opportunities that I've had access to, this is just a little bit, and I'm not going to go so much into it. In January, I was telling someone I rejected a World Bank consulting position. I said the money is too small because I was like, you can't pay me this amount of money for the qualifications that I have. The other week, just like a week or two ago, somebody emailed me, offering me to like a position in one of like the top schools in the UK to do some research work. This is someone that I just connected to and sent some of my work. And that's a different topic entirely, how to open opportunities, doors of opportunities. And I talk about that in the bootcamp. Like to the extent that people will be looking for you, they'll be giving you opportunities. Today, 2 days ago, somebody reached out to me. Oh, we need you to come and do this book review for this, big book in international trade law. Like that. School has opened so many opportunities for me. It didn't happen in a day, but I know that I'm on the right path. And in the next few years, when you guys are hearing by God's grace, Miriam Momodu, you will understand that it did not happen overnight. There was a hard work, and I'm not going to give up. I'm not giving up. I keep pushing and I keep pressing. So you have no reason to give up. Now, one of the things I'm most proud of is founding Getting, that is empowering people like you to also achieve their dreams. My own goal is for all of us to eat this breakfast together. We must eat it together. We must all, as we're looking for somebody who is in the World Bank. Oh, we know someone. We're looking for someone in the IFC. We know someone. We're looking for somebody in the White House. We know someone. We're looking for somebody in this. We know someone. That's the goal. So if I were you, I would be claiming it and say, I will work hard. Type in the chat, I will work hard to achieve my goal. Type it in the chat. I like saying this thing so that you will write it by yourself. It's like a contract. You are promising yourself, I will work hard to achieve my goal. Okay, now, I said, let me be a little bit, don't tell me this thing is going to disgrace me today. So I want you guys to watch this video. I hope you can hear the audio.
One of you will betray me tonight. Is it me, Jesus? No. Is it me, Jesus? It's not you either. Is it me, Jesus? Is it me, Jesus?
Did you hear the audio? Let me just see the chat if you heard the audio. Did you hear the audio? Did you hear the audio? Okay, fantastic. So this is the beginning of my acting career. Okay, I see you guys saying I'll work hard to achieve my goals. Fantastic. So what did you think about this video? Because when I made it, I was, obviously beyond my amateurish acting skills.
One of you
just let me try and move
will betray
thing. So the truth is, anything can actually betray you in your grad school application. But the most common betrayers, the most common Judases, the ones that would just shame someone, is mostly your essays and your CV. And in the same way, if your essays and your CV if they're good, it's almost as if you would think you've done jazz. Like you would think you think if there's something else happening, the way you'll be getting offers. So you need to make sure that your essays and your CV don't betray you. Other things are also relevant. And I talk about this in the bootcamp, how to, make sure that everything is working together in unison. But today I'm going to emphasize the two. They're going to be either your Judas or they're going to be your soldiers. They're going to be your Judas or they're going to be your soldiers. That is it. Those are the two options for your essays and your CV. Either your Judas or your soldier. What do you want? Do you want a Judas or do you want a soldier? Can you type in the comments? Tell me, do you want a Judas or a soldier? What do you want? A Judas or a soldier? Which one do you want? A soldier. You don't want a Judas when you're submitting your CV and your statement of purpose. You want a soldier that is going to fight for you, right? Fantastic. Now, we now said we want a soldier. You want your CV and your statement of purpose to be a soldier, right? We've all agreed we want soldiers. Is this the kind of soldier that you want? Do you want this soldier or do you want this soldier? Because there's a soldier and there's a soldier. Which kind of soldier do you want? Do you want this soldier or do you want this soldier who is going to fight for you in the grad school battle? This soldier or this soldier? The first one. Now, the strong and agile soldier. And I like using analogies because it will help you to remember when you're writing your essays and you're writing your CV, be asking yourself, who does my CV look like? This Spartan or this soldier that's, has had one too many donuts? Which one do you want? You want the smart soldier, the one with abs. I mean, I'm not gonna say I put this picture here because it's a very nice test strap, but I'm using it to illustrate a message. Please don't be distracted, ladies and gentlemen. I'm passing across a message here. So I know the kind of soldier that I want to represent me in a battle. I want this guy. I don't want this guy. Now, why is this important to you? So I decided to wear this same t-shirt, this same hoodie, from Cambridge, just to encourage you guys and inspire you that you too, you will soon buy your own hoodie for your uni. Now, for you to get that kind of soldier, for your documents, you understand, to be a soldier. In fact, why did I even start talking about soldiers in the first place? Let me tell you, when you submit your application, you are not there to defend yourself in battle. It is an application, a graduate school application pool is like a battle, is like war. War where everybody has sent their own soldiers. Who are their soldiers? Their CV, their essays, their recommendations. Those are the soldiers that everybody has sent. The question is, who are you going to send? Because you can't be there. You're not going to be there. Nobody's going to call you and say, come and show me, come and explain to me this thing that you wrote here. You are not there. You've left everything on the line in your documents. And I think when people understand that, they will treat their documents with a measure of care that a lot of people don't treat them with. You will treat your documents with a measure of care. If you understand this soldier analogy, it basically means that every single, you have nothing else to fight with except your documents. Do you guys see the reason why I had to bring this analogy? You have nothing else to fight with except your documents. And once you understand that, the way you treat those documents, you will not write your statement of purpose 2 days before the deadline. You will not write it 1 week before the deadline. You will not write it 1 month before the deadline. If you understand that you are trying to whip your soldier into shape, okay? If you understand that you are trying to whip your soldier into shape, you will not write, please, if you have a message to pass across, please send it to the group, to the general group. We have admin here who would note your information. If you send it to me directly, they can't see it and I can't act on it. So please, I've got a few private messages. I can see you're sending me a message, but I can't read or respond to it at the moment, please. So, I haven't seen anybody telling me they understand this, my soldier analogy, or am I just telling stories? So if you know that this is all you have, you're not going to play with your essays and your CV. Now, why do I know this? I know this because, I mean, I've gotten personally over $250,000 in scholarships. Getting has gotten over 2 point something million dollars in scholarship for people. In fact, the number is more. But sometimes people just get their scholarships and they don't come back and tell you. But it's okay. I'm very happy, for them anyway, right? But the point is, we know how to prepare people for battle. We've been doing it for years. And what you must do is to ensure that your documents are lean, mean, and are on a purpose. And you're going to see, bear it in mind that we're going to have some, I'm going to show you some examples, and we're going to talk about those examples, some live essays in the next, let me look at the time, in the next 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to look at some essays. We're going to talk about what is wrong with them and why you shouldn't submit those kinds of essays. So your documents need to be lean, mean, and on a purpose. What do I mean by lean? Lean means that you have no space for irrelevant words. Why? Because you have only 400. You have only 400, 500 words, 800 words, whatever. So it must be lean. When I say your documents must be lean, what does that mean? It means you're going to have to make choices. If you are trying to be lean, you can't eat pizza. You cannot eat ice cream. You cannot eat chocolate. You have to eat specific things, fruits, veggies. You may need to even fast. You may not be eating all the time. The same thing applies to your application. You cannot write everything in your application if it is not going to contribute strongly. If it's not your best foot forward, it has no business in your application, even if you have done that thing. So this means you are going to have to make choices. And this is where people get it wrong. Because you've done so many things in your past, or you think you have so many interesting experiences, you think that your essay is a place to just do pa, 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 pa. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done that. You must select the most impactful, select the most effective to highlight. Do you understand what I mean? A lot of you just put information there that is serving no purpose. It's like your soldier is going to battle. You now give the soldier, I'm trying to look for, you now give the soldier agbada, right? Agbada is like a native costume where you it's very regal. It's huge. Your soldier doesn't need that. What your soldier needs is armor. What your soldier needs is evidence of how they're going to be, why you deserve to be in that program. So you need to cut out the fluff. Now, when I say your documents must be mean, it's kind of connected to, going on a purpose. It must be laser focused, not just distracted, right? So your essay, your CV, it must have, and this when in the bootcamp, I talk about building a persona. Your persona is there to discipline what you write in your essay. It is meant to discipline you so that you don't put irrelevancies. And it must be on a purpose. And what is that purpose? Your purpose is to convince the admissions committee that you are a better investment than anybody else who is there. There's no reason why you would go through our boot camp or finish this session and you will not be you will not be amongst the short list. If you are not in a short list, is a problem for me. It means you didn't implement what we taught, because there is no way, just by doing the basic things, that you will not, start getting into a short list. Now, one of the things that I want to highlight again, and I'm using this analogy also to make it stick into your head. I'm a teacher, at heart. So I know I'm pretty good at this stuff. One of the things you need to note is that even when you've been able to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to just pick certain experiences and all of that, you have to know how to stop feeling and sounding inferior. Please, can we mute ourselves? Let's try to make this, an impactful session for everyone. You need to stop feeling and sounding inferior. Now, imagine if that soldier, this guy is like, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm strong. I think I'm strong. I'm strong, right? I'm strong. It doesn't make sense. You understand what I'm saying? So even when you've been able to identify your experiences, a lot of people from developing countries, and that's why one of the reasons why I do what I do, you don't believe in the experiences you have. It's like you think it's not enough. You think this isn't something to be proud of. And that's not true. You understand what I'm saying? You need to learn, and I teach all these strategies, there are keywords that you can use, but you need to stop feeling and sounding inferior. So if you say that, don't say that I was lucky to, what does that mean? I was lucky or I was fortunate to be awarded. You were not fortunate to be awarded anything. You worked for it and you got it. So you need to, one of the things you need to take with you is your choice of language and your choice of words when you are selling yourself. I hate saying things like, you will say it in people's applications, I am a humble, what are you humble for? I am a humble, hardworking. Those are not words that need to be in your essay. You are wasting space. You are no more lean. You are becoming fat. You're no more lean. You understand what I'm saying? So you need to stop feeling and sounding inferior. Any word, at the same time, there's a way, and I talk about this a lot in the bootcamp, the balance between humility and pride. So one of the examples I give is when you say things like, you know, if you say something like, I worked, I worked with, or I led a team of 5, or I collaboratively worked with the executive team, or as the president of the society, I worked with the executive team too. You've done 2 things. You've shown them that, hey, number 1, I was the president, but I worked with other people. So that's a good way of showing that balance between, humility and pride. It's not to say I humbly led the executive team to do so, and so. There's no need for that. So if you feel inferior, you will sound inferior, and it will reflect in your language choice. Please, am I making sense? Because this comment section is dry. Am I making sense? When I'm making sense, I need you to let me know that you're picking it. So words like humbly, words like, what was the other one that I said? I was fortunate. Words like, I was lucky. Words like, I'm not saying you can't use them at all, but it all depends on context. You can't say I was given an opportunity to, there's a way to say it. Sometimes you can use these words, but you have to look at the context. Let it be instead that you're saying that, I applied for and I was selected. I was one of the 6 people selected to, you understand? Let them know I was one of the 6 people selected. I was not lucky. I worked, after 3 months of preparation, I applied for this, and I was one of the 4 people selected in the country, in my organization, in my school. You understand? So if you don't take anything from here, stop feeling and sounding inferior in your essays. Why? People are sending soldiers with muscles. You're sending, somebody lean, saying just go there and be humble. We don't do that. And one of the things I need to let you guys know, and one of the things I found out as well, living in North America, is that people in North America are very bold about their achievements. They don't hide it. They don't wait for you. Like even in the workplace in North America, you have to go and be telling your boss, like, this is what I've done, this is what I've achieved. It's not that you're gonna say, oh, just look at me, you can tell that I'm doing well. You have to sell yourself. Sometimes when people repackage themselves, they'll be like, oh, is this me? Yes, it is you. So you're in a competition. You're not here to play games. Now, the other point I'm going to emphasize before we go into the document review is called the 1 document strategy. I also teach this in my bootcamp, and I teach a lot of things. So for me to be giving you guys all this tea, sorry, this is my lipstick. For me to be giving you guys all this tea, you can imagine how detailed my bootcamp is. But one thing I can tell you with confidence is that even if you don't attend the bootcamp, from the small that you have picked here, it will help you. But those who come to the class, they're going to get a lot sharp. But let me move on for now. The 1 document strategy. One of the challenges that I see with a lot of you, a lot of applicants, and I've seen many applications in my lifetime, is that you cannot tell who they are. One of the things you should have at the back of your mind is that if your CV is here and your essay is here and it gets separated, would they be able to know that it's the same applicant? For most of us, the answer is no. Because there's no coherence. There's no coherence in your documents. Your CV is saying a complete different story. Your essays are saying a completely different story. We cannot find that blend, that merger, that sweet story. Like when I read an application of somebody who attended our bootcamp last year and is going to Oxford, and one of the things that she did perfectly was use the 1 document strategy. As I was reading it, I saw some experiences she highlighted in her CV. Good. I now saw how she explained and emphasized it in her personal statement and the impact that she had in her personal statement. It was brilliant. She's going to Oxford for an MBA, fully funded. And I can see why, because she deployed the one document strategy. So your documents need to be interwoven. If just this is the analogy. Again, I teach with a lot of analogies. If your CV is at this side and your personal statement is at this side, can somebody who, if your name is not there, can somebody pick those two and say this belongs to the same person? If they cannot, you are making mistakes. Because your essay is an opportunity for you to not rehash what you've done in your CV, no, but for you to just for you to say, oh, when I worked at, that place you mentioned in your CV, great. Now give one impactful experience you get that connects so well with what you mentioned in the CV that they can now understand, either your motivation for having those achievements, they can understand the real impact you had, by working in that place and so on and so forth. Is it making sense? Okay. Now, another point you need to keep in mind is putting your best foot forward always. Sometimes I will see people writing applications and you are apologizing. You're apologizing for example, somebody said they have a gap in their work history or record, and you're apologizing, or you're like, well, no. Yes, you know that you've had a gap, but this is not for you to make it seem bigger a problem than it is. You have to put a positive spin on it. So all those years that you were not working, is it that you were not doing anything? It's not possible. So what exactly did you gain in that period? That's what you need to emphasize. So if you say that, for the past 10 years, don't say I took a break to raise my family. You say for the past 10 years, I ventured into entrepreneurship, right? You don't have to say that I took a break because I wasn't sure if I was interested in school anymore, but somehow I attended a webinar, then I became interested in going back to school. That's a zero. You understand? You would say instead that, you would say instead that, after my university or whatever, I took on entrepreneurship roles in order to blah, 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 whatever. And in that process, you say what you learned. I learned that this, which is what has now inspired me to return to school. You understand what I'm saying? To now, either connect the theoretical blah, 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 or to conduct this research in this for that. You understand? That's how you do it. You can't have, okay, let's go back to your soldier. Imagine if your soldier has an injury somewhere. Is it not supposed to tie it? You're supposed to hide it. Because once your enemy sees your injury like this, they will just target that spot and cut you, and it's over. So I'm giving you the analogies because I want it to stay in your minds. So once you have any defects in your story, in your journey, cover it up, package it, put a beautiful plaster on it, and don't put a bad foot forward for one day in your life. If you're applying for anything, let them, if they need further details, they should come and ask you. You understand? But in the meantime, what is the positive spin in that bad experience? And this also applies to those of you where they say, write about the time that you failed. It's a lie. You will write about the time that you failed in quotes, but that your failure must become a success. Don't just write about a colossal failure, a dismal failure where there was nothing to learn from. Inside that your failure self, you will be hyping yourself. You understand what I mean? Like, it's not just to say, oh, I worked with this team and then our project failed. No, you would say something like, I was given, the opportunity to manage a $1 billion fund or a $1 million, whatever, as the youngest so and so in my organization. Yes, you're talking about a failure, but do you know what you're doing? You are selling yourself. Are you feeling me? You are selling yourself. You will hype yourself inside that failure. So I was one of the first person given the opportunity to this in my company because it was new. There was no established process for managing this kind of fund or whatever. What I did was I designed a process from end to end and began to implement. However, upon implementation, I realized that I should have conducted deeper stakeholder engagements with this level of people in the organization, something like that. We were close to, losing this opportunity. However, immediately I realized the error. I circled back. I had meetings, I booked impromptu meetings with the top executives and this, that. And we were able to salvage the loss from a 60% to a 20%. Honestly, it's a failure, but it's a lie. It's actually a success. So when they tell you to write about a time you failed, don't be writing. When they gave me $1 million, I did not know what to do with the money. And then, sorry, I have a comedic, I have a comedic side to me, So when they gave me $1 million, I didn't really know what to do with the money. So I just did my best. Unfortunately, since it was the first time, it didn't work. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't do that. Don't do that. We don't do that. Now, the next point is one of the things I teach in the bootcamp as well is speak the same language. So I have a strategy that I came up with. It's called the CARD strategy. And I'm going to tell you only one of them. And even that one alone, if you take it and use it, your life will not be the same. C stands for contextualization. Sometimes when some of you are writing your essays, you are writing as if you're speaking Chinese and the admissions committee is speaking English. Or you're writing in a completely different language. It's English, but the way you are writing it, it is you're not thinking about your recipient. You're not thinking about who is reading it. You're writing it for yourself, for your context and for your understanding. You're not asking yourself, and I don't want to give everything away. You're not asking yourself, is this person who is reading it, will they understand what I'm saying? And I'm going to show you a lot of contextualization in this. So guys, let's do a Twitter break. Give me a hashtag because we have to trend on Twitter. This session is too good for us not to trend. Give me a hashtag that we need to use. Who is going to suggest the hashtag? Someone should suggest the hashtag in the comments and tell people to join. If you go to my page, I'm Miramomodu_ on Instagram. I'm sorry, on Twitter. You can share. Someone should give a hashtag that we can use. I'm not really good at hashtags. Hey, leveling up with Miriam. Operation level up. Guys, give more examples, Joe. This is too long. You need short hashtags. Okay, hashtag getting grad school. Hashtag getting grad school. I like getting grad school. Getting grad school. I like that a lot. So guys, hashtag getting grad school. Until I see retweets, I'm not going to continue, except you're not enjoying yourself. Hashtag getting grad school, type a tweet, hashtag getting grad school, and get them to join, right? Or I'm just going to go to getting edu, and I'm going to retweet the last tweet, and then you can just retweet that and hashtag getting grad school. So I'm waiting for you. I'm not seeing any tags. So hashtag getting grad school. Don't type it here. Go and type it on Twitter. Hashtag getting grad school. I'm waiting for you. Otherwise, we will not move. Okay, so go and hashtag it on Twitter, not here. Okay, so now I was talking about C for contextualization. So if you're not thinking about the recipient of your essay, you are going to be writing for yourself. And if you're writing for yourself, you're the only one that will understand what you're saying. And the very, very first thing that makes people go into the rejection pile is when the people who are reading their essays don't understand what they're talking about. And sometimes this thing comes in very subtle forms. So you will say something like, I was the hall chair of my hall. What does that mean? Do they know what is a hall chair? Like somebody is here from India. Do you know what a hall chair is? A lot of my audience is from African countries. So maybe you might understand it. But if you're not Nigerian, do you know what a hall chair person is? So if you say I was the hall chair person, if you're not Nigerian, I saw a few people who were not Nigerian. Do you know what it means to be a hall chair person? Can you type in the comments so that you guys will know that I'm not just messing. So Ashiwaya says she doesn't know what a hall chairperson is. Cleo Kusuma, where are you from, Cleo? Says, I don't know what a hall chairperson is. Samson Ojosemako says, I don't know what a hall chairperson is. Now, in Nigeria, in universities, we have something called like a hall. Like a hall is like a hostel, like a hall of residence where students live, right? It's like a house of it's resident, or the most people in North America call it residence, right? It's basically where students live. And usually they would elect like a president who is like the head of the students in that hall, right? Or in that hostel. But if you write, Cleo is from Botswana, even a fellow African does not understand, what a hall chairperson is. And Samson even says that it's not all Nigerian schools that use such nomenclature, yes. But in my school, University of Ibadan, once you say this person is the hall chairperson, everybody knows what you're talking about. The hall chairperson of Queen's Hall, the hall chairperson of Awolowo Hall, they know what you're talking about. But if people in your own country, other people in your own country don't understand what it means to be a hall chair, how do you expect somebody all the way from University of Saskatchewan, all the way from MIT, to understand and put into context what it means to lead 3,000 students that were living in that hostel? Is this giving you some clarity? It cannot make sense to them. It cannot make any sense to them. So you can't write in a language that only you understand. What you should be asking yourself is, what do they call this thing in, where am I applying? I'm applying to North America, right? I'm applying to North America. So what do they call it? They call it halls of residence. Then you would then say, I was elected as the president of the hall of residence. There's even no need to even mention the name of Obafemi Awolowo Hall. It's making it complicated. I was elected as and you don't even have enough words. I was elected as the president of the hall of residence that, that houses over 3,000 students yearly. My goodness, anybody understands that. I was elected as the president of a student hall of residence that houses over 3,000 students yearly, or 1,000 students yearly. That is the power of contextualization. That's the power of contextualization. Admin, please, let's do the muting thing. Let's mute so that we can all focus. This is a very heavy session, right? So I want you to type in the comment, I will contextualize. Write it for me. I will contextualize. I will contextualize. Please, if you keep speaking, I think it's deliberate. We'll have to remove you from the meeting. So admin, I think the person keeps unmuting themselves. If it continues, please remove them from the meeting. Thank you. I will contextualize, okay? So there's a tweet here. If you scroll up in the chat, there's a tweet here that you should click and retweet. I've not seen your tweet on Twitter. I haven't seen any tweets. So you guys tweet, getting Grad. So now let's keep moving. At the end of the day, your goal is to write an essay that cannot be ignored. And these are some of the tips that I'm just giving you, some of the nuggets that I'm giving you. Take it, use it, take it to the bank. You don't even need to read your essay. Take it to the bank, utilize these tips, download Grammarly, correct your typos, take these tips to the bank, implement it. Now, if you have low grades, you have to be very, very, very mindful about your essays. If you have a gap in your resume, it is your essays that are going to close those gaps. So for those of you who don't have as competitive grades as others, it's not the end. You understand? And that's why I keep saying that scholarships are not only for first-class graduates or people who have 2-1. Even if you have a 2-2, you understand? Your essays and the way you sell yourself go a long way in determining if someone should give you a chance. You understand? So this is where your work is. And there's so many other things. There's there's the ARD in the card strategy, there's the ideal strategy, and there's the prepare strategy, which will help you. And
I know the way.
Yes, I
Do
do.
you know the
and that's why when we're talking about grad school, a lot of people talk about grad school all year round. I talk about it only within a certain time of the year, because anybody who is trying to get into school for September next year, if you've not started your work now, you're not serious. You understand? You're not ready. So these are the people that I target, the people that I know that are already thinking way ahead of time. All right. So you're doing the right thing. So I'm showing this example because it's important that I emphasize something. This is somebody who got a first class, and this is to encourage those of you who don't have first class degrees. He had a first class, and one of the documents we're going to be reviewing today is of somebody who had a first class as well. And I won't be surprised if that person has been facing rejection after rejection.
Oh, guys, channel 211.
Okay, please, can we eject the person from the meeting? There's no, if you notice the person is on muting and unmuting, just eject them. It means they're here to cause trouble. So this person finished 4 years ago with a first class and thought that, grad school was just going to happen for them, and they kept getting rejected. So this person would have been rejected over, other people who didn't even have first class would have been accepted over this person because he was making some mistakes. He was making some mistakes. And what we're going to teach you in the bootcamp is to show you, I'm going to show you some examples. So don't go. If you have, I like people who have time for themselves and their future. So don't go. So one of the things I teach a lot, and you must have gotten that sense from here, I teach you clarity. And I'm an academic, so I use workbooks. They're very specific questions. If you answer all those questions, honestly, by the end of that workbook, if you don't know what to write in your essay, something must be wrong. So you learn how to clarify who you are, your message. You learn how to build a persona, how to have a clear identity that you are selling. Only you cannot be a mathematician, an engineer, a fashion designer, and a motivational speaker. It's not possible for your grad school essay, even though you are all of that. I give myself as an example. There are some applications that you can never see getting in. There's some CVs that I submit that you can never see anything like getting because it's not relevant. And there's some that the first thing you will see is that I run this organization, I run this community. You understand? So you need to build a persona. Sometimes your persona might even be different depending on the school. Your persona might be different depending on the type of program. Other things that we do is literally a line by line of what your resume and your essay should look like. And as I said, I think the ideal strategy is only for essays. By the time you apply the 5 steps in the ideal strategy, it's over for them. It's over for the enemies. You understand? Other things I teach are school and scholarship search, strategies. And I'm going to show you just some examples of what we can do, how you can take basic essays and how you can change them and turn them around. This is one of the success stories that I like a lot as well. And this person was in our very first bootcamp, and I'm going to be having her on our Instagram live in a few weeks. I'm going to be interviewing her. And the reason is that she actually started this journey a few years ago. But when she came for the bootcamp, I told her, I said, you are very bright. You have good experience. You're going to go far. But after the bootcamp, she implemented halfway. But every year I kept following her up because I just took an interest in her. And then I told her last year, I said, what is your problem? Because last year she got some scholarships, part scholarships. I said, what happened? She said, I applied late, I did this. I said, but you're not applying what I taught you. Why? So last year I was on her neck. I said, you must start early. You must do this. You must do this. You must do that. She got into Harvard. Why am I giving this example? You might be the one sabotaging yourself. You may have potential for so much, but you might be sabotaging yourself if you're not taking the right steps now. So when you are tired, when you think I still have to September to choose my schools, trust me, you are sabotaging yourself. When I started my PhD application, I started maybe in March. or something, and the application wasn't due until December. That's how early I started, because I understood that this was a battle, competition with other people, and there are limited slots available. So before I go into the documents, because I need to close these slides, please, please, please register for our bootcamp. I always say it, that we do this bootcamp. A lot of these free events are good enough for me to charge, but I don't. You understand? Because I believe that, ability to pay should not be a barrier for you to get information. So that's why I have these sessions. But one of the things I found out, and I did this last year, and I'm going to be very honest with you guys. In fact, maybe we should stop recording. One of the things I found out is that when people don't pay to join the class, they don't implement. And that's why we put a price of $100 on this class. $100 is how much you will pay for one school application. It's not that I cannot say, okay, maybe let me look at some people and pick some people. No, but every time I've done that, every time I've sponsored, you understand, people don't complete. So if you know that you are very serious about yourself and you want to invest in yourself, it's just $100. You can get it. If you are on the internet now, you have data for the past 1 hour to be here, you can get $100. You can even, if you really want it that bad, you will tell somebody, invest this money in me. When I go to school next year, because you know you're going, I will send you your $100 back. You will send it back within the first day. I always say that this coming to our bootcamp is better than Bitcoin, it's better than MMM, because you spend $100 to give yourself a better chance of winning scholarships worth tens of thousands of dollars. And I always say that the price will remain $100 for a long time, not because it's not worth more. I always say every business consultant I've spoken to is like, you are charging too low, but I know why I'm doing this. I said it will not be more than what it takes to apply for one school fee, one application fee. You understand? That's why I do it at this price. So I'm encouraging you, please, I have limited slots available. This year, we are having an accountability group for 2 months, because one of the challenges we noticed is that people may not, you get the information and then you are paralyzed. You don't know how to move, but we want to work as a group this year to make sure that step by step, if you follow it, you have a very huge chance. So before I go into the document review, if you check the comments, you would see the link to join the bootcamp. Please, Tim, can you put the link to join the bootcamp? Once we reach our maximum number of people, because we can only take so many people in the group. Once we reach the maximum number of people, please, can you post the link to the for people to join the bootcamp? Once we reach the maximum number of people, we will have to close it, so that we can make sure that everybody has at least, our admin, our group admin has enough ability to, kind of respond. Please, can you put the entire link with the www, because they cannot click the bit.ly link on the chat. So please send the link to the bootcamp, the full link, so that everybody can click and join. I suspect that after this live session, it's probably going to be full. So I really encourage you to take action as much as possible. And before I go forward, I just want to ask a few questions as well before we go into the document review. Yes, I've already mentioned that I'm going to have the live session with some of the past scholarship winners, but it's not going to be on, what's this? It's not going to be on Zoom. It's going to be on Instagram. So past winners, we're going to invite them. We're going to talk to them. People who have gotten scholarships, gotten to school, you can ask them questions and stuff like that. So as I was also kind of saying, I do this because you deserve the best. I've had the opportunity to access these opportunities, and it has changed my life. So if you are ready, you understand, you can change your life as well. But in the comments, can you just tell me why you haven't joined? I see somebody said they took advantage of the early bird. If you haven't joined, can you put in the comments why you haven't joined? One of the things I always tell everyone is this is a class, okay? It's a group class. Everything you need to learn from me has already been contained in the course. It is not a one-on-one consultation. It is a program designed for you to follow. And then the accountability group is where, as a cohort, everybody kind of works together through things. So this is not a one-on-one consultation for me to review your document. I have to let you know that. The reason why I say this is because for me, the goal is not so much because the goal is not so much because the goal is not so much to say, oh, Miriam is the champion. As I have taught you this contextualization, now go and teach someone else. The goal is to build an army of people who can help other Africans level up. And I can't do that effectively if I'm reviewing one-on-one documents. Instead, what I'm teaching you is this same strategy that I use. You understand? It's the same thing that I do for any document I look at, but instead I am teaching you. You understand what I'm saying? So that you can do it yourself and you can show other people. So that's how the bootcamp works. So for most of you who are saying that you have limited funds, I'm not sure, we might be launching again in August. It depends. If we launch again in August, you can start saving up for the August batch, but there's no guarantee that it will launch. It depends on, it depends on a few other factors. We might be launching again in August, and this might be our only class this year. I'm not sure. But even if we're launching again, we have only one more cohort, which will be in August. But possibly we might not have. So if you don't have the money, what I always advise is that you have one person in this world who believes in you. You have one person who, if you are financially independent, if you have a bright future ahead of you, you are going to be saving that person some stress because they are currently taking care of you. It is that person that you need to make an investment in you. You understand? That's the person you need to target. And don't look at this as you're paying for a class. It's an investment. You understand? So think about it as an investment. And if you think about it as an investment, you will do whatever it takes to join. A registration closes on June 11. June 11, because we're starting June 12. You'll be joining the class on June 12. So registration closes June 11. And unfortunately, there's no payment plan option at this time. It's just a one-off payment. And I'm sorry, the early bird has also closed. But one of the things I would let you know for a fact is that if you join the session, it's an investment that you get glad that you do. At the end of the day, I've gotten my own. Okay, so now let's move into the document review session. And this time we're going to do it together, all right? Because you learn better when you are stop share. Okay, you learn better when you are engaged. Okay, so don't do I want to listen to Miriam. If you two want to go to your Cambridge or want to go to U of T or you want to go to any of these top schools, you need to learn how to critique documents. Okay, you need to learn how to critique documents. Someone says, can one pay if one does not have time to join the bootcamp now? If you know you will not have time to implement what you're going to be taught in the bootcamp, please don't join. And I'm being very honest. Please don't join. And there's an audience. This bootcamp is not for people who want to outsource or people who just, it's not. It is for people who say, I am going to do the work. I'm going to find the time to do the work. The bootcamp is in an online course format. So you have access to the platform and you can watch it, in your own time within 3 weeks. After that, accountability group starts. So that's the format that it takes. So if you know that you are dedicated, you are ready to spend the next 3 months of your life to change the rest of your life. I don't know which better investment is better than that. If you spend the next 3 months of your life to do the work that will change the rest of your life, why don't you do it? Sorry, I'm really sorry if I'm sounding like a pastor. Sorry, can you pause the recording? Let me just talk to our people here for a little bit. Just pause the recording. So now let's go to the document review session. I've been excited about this for a while. So the last session we had some people sent in their documents for review, and we're basically going to be, based on the things that I've taught you today, we're all going to be reviewing these documents together. So if you've not been chatting, I want to see you chatting. All right, I want to see you chatting. So this person is a lawyer. So I want you guys to tell me what you think, and then I will tell you what is wrong or what can be better. So the person says, and we might spend some time on this. Excuse me, pardon me. So the first thing, the person says they're an associate lawyer at JEJE or JEJE Chambers, and they describe it as a general practice law firm. They've also said that they provide legal advice and counsel to clients. They researched and gathered information with the aim of finding legal remedies for clients. They drafted letters, contracts, legal opinions, and other legal documents. They acted on behalf of clients in negotiations and represented them at tribunals and courts. Does anybody see anything wrong with this? So I'm not sure what kind of law this person is applying for. This person is probably fantastic. This person is probably applying for a master's in law. Let's just assume it's commercial law or something like that. Yes, very good. We have a few things here. Somto says the description does not give good context. Yes, when you are given a description, so it's correct that they've given a description of where they've worked. This is very good. It's important to give a description, but description is as good as not being there, because it doesn't give us any information. It has stated the place, but this description hasn't given any useful information. This description is like an agbada. You understand? It is just like an outfit. It is not a weapon. It is not a shield. It is not selling the quality of the firm. It's doing nothing. In fact, this entire 4 things have done nothing. It's general. There's no result. It's too vague, no achievement. It hasn't sold. So the English is correct, but it hasn't sold your skills. It hasn't sold anything. No quantification of anything. Research and gathered information on what type of law. So if you are applying for commercial law, this is where you should be showing that you have experience in commercial law. Conducted research on, use an example in commercial law. You understand? Conducted research on, put a term or a legal principle in commercial law that you know will be attractive to that school, with the aim of finding legal remedies for clients. Drafted letters, contract, legal opinions, and other legal documents on what? In what area? What expertise do you have? Nothing. All this whole, so you feel like you've written a good CV, but this entire paragraph hasn't said anything to anyone except you. Now let's go here. It says the Federal Ministry of Justice is the legal arm of the federal government of Nigeria, primarily concerned with bringing cases before the judiciary that are initiated or assumed by the government. What is wrong with this description? Legal assistance, law reporting department. Please type in the chat, what is wrong with this description? And we have other courses. Don't think we're doing only law. We have other courses. What is wrong with this description? You guys, I want you to interact with me, because you will learn it's okay to be wrong. Nobody's looking at your face. Like, nobody can see your face. It's okay to be wrong. And that's one of the things you're going to have to learn. It's not lean. Yes. As Woba said, it's not lean. This description is like the second soldier. It's not lean. So these 3 lines, what are you really trying to pass across? I hope you are in our boot camp. I hope you are joining our boot camp, because you look like you get it. And if you can understand this very quickly, the sky is your beginning point. You are on the right track to not only editing your own essays, editing for other people, helping people change their own lives. So instead of saying this, what you should say is, think about how can this, as a lawyer, you need to use legal language. You understand? So you should say the ministry the Ministry of Justice is responsible for prosecuting, in prosecuting whatever cases, blah 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 blah. Prosecuting, in fact, not just prosecuting cases, prosecuting high-profile constitutional cases. Do you understand what I'm saying? You cannot just be putting words there that are not serving your purpose. What kind of cases? You have to hype yourself. Who is going to hype you? High-profile constitutional cases against the government of Nigeria. Against the federal government. So that is a better way to describe this. High-profile constitutional cases. There is no lawyer, there is no admissions committee that does not understand what a constitutional case is. We know that constitutional cases are a big deal. You understand what I'm saying? You're not even saying just high profile. You are now talking about, you know, high profile constitutional cases. That's a better description. And all of this, I'm just giving you off the top of my head as how this draft should be changed. Now, let's go to this next sentence. It says, undertook visits with the department to various courts of record in Nigeria, which include the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, the Federal High Court, the High Court, and the various states. Of what use is this information to somebody in University of Colorado? Of what use is listing all the courts in Nigeria to someone at the University of Colorado? It's not necessary. Very relevant. If you are maybe applying for a job in Nigeria, perhaps. But what you need to think about is, what does the Department of Justice, what does the Ministry of Justice, what does it do everywhere you're applying to? How can I translate this into a language that they understand? So I found that a lot of this information, even I, as a lawyer, was finding it hard to be, I can't really judge whether this person is good at something, how good they are at something. There's no context to it. They're not using numbers to contextualize. They're not giving descriptions that show me what they are doing. You understand? So you need to bear in mind, this is a good example of somebody who wrote a good CV in terms of the language, English, everything is good. Like it's not like there are errors or anything, but the person is unfortunately speaking to themselves. They have not successfully translated their experience in a way that a neutral third party can understand. Prepared various agreements, contracts, and leases. Again, client interviews is something you all need to be very careful of. I see it a lot. Irrelevant capitalizations. Why is client interview in capital? Like why is it capitalized? You are not only writing for style, you are writing for form. The way you're sometimes, in fact, I don't know about you, but I eat documents visually first. Like I consume documents visually first. So once I see your document, if it looks good, there's a tendency that I will read it. If you cannot pay enough attention to have your documents look good, why should I think you can pay enough attention to be able to succeed in a lab or to be able to succeed in a particular program? Why do you understand what I'm saying? Like you can't pay, I won't believe you if your documents are not looking good. So assisted in client interviews, CI should not be in capital letters at all. Same thing with full stops. You will have full stop at the end of one sentence. You won't have at the end of another sentence. This one is even fairly consistent. But those small things, sometimes when it comes to the wire, sometimes just the way you've presented your work might be the deciding factor. Again, most of the things I'm going to be pointing out today are contextualization. I can't really point out the other things in the card strategy so well because of limited time. But here also, we have the same challenge, legal extern. I don't really know how much, whether that term is used very often. I know that law school started using it, but I know it's more, people say more of internships. So those of you who are in science class, we still have science essays to review. Legal extern, Honorable Justice Kafil Daudu, Iboshire High Court. Again, they don't know what this is. A court of record. No, you have to explain that, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, this is not just explaining anything. A general practice law firm, you talk about civil or criminal cases. Now, one of the challenges this person also has is they don't have a persona. They don't have a persona because even though they've had different legal experiences, there just doesn't seem to be any thread tying it together. There doesn't seem to be any thread tying their experiences together. And that's why sometimes you're going to have to pick and choose what stays or what doesn't stay in your application. It's not everything you need to put in your application because some things will just confuse people, right? So yes, you shouldn't have a gap, but I'm going to show you a very good example of taking out some things in your application as we go down. This is one of the places where this person has tried to contextualize a little bit. Secured the release of 3 pretrial detainees. I like this. I thought this was a good, sentence. secure the release of 3 pretrial detainees from the Nigerian prisons. But you don't need to say at Aba, Umaya, Abia, and Okigwe, Imo State, because it doesn't mean anything to them. So instead, you should say something like secured, worked pro bono, which means you worked for free to secure the release of 3 pre-trial detainees. There's no need for pre-trial detainees to be in capital either, from Nigerian prisons, and enroll them in a rehabilitation, whatever program or something. This is a good one because you can see the impact of what they did, but not this second half here. Okay. Now, most of the time, except the context of your school, or your school specifically asks you to list your work experience first, and sometimes they do that for MBAs, please make sure that you are, mostly putting your education first. Now, this person has mostly the problem of generalization without being specific. So she says, I participated in educational projects. This line is just taking space. It's not doing anything. Another challenge here is the problem of putting so many things. Whenever we advise you to put your courses, we do advise you to put some of your courses under your education, because your education is not just a list of your education is not just a list of the things that you did in school, but at the same time, you have to think about one document. You have to think about sending a lean application. So if you're applying for commercial law, for example, it might not be necessary for you to put criminal law and law of thoughts and jurisprudence as the kind of laws modules that you completed. Instead, just say completed modules in commercial law, land law, contract law, and other commercial subjects, amongst others. Or you highlight the ones that you had a distinction in. So I agree that you should highlight your modules, but don't just highlight modules for the sake of highlighting modules. You must highlight your modules with a purpose. You understand? So sometimes when I'm applying so I did 4 courses in my master's. I did international trade, I did corporate law, I did commercial litigation, and I did law and economics. Depending on the job I'm applying for, sometimes I will just put like the corporate finance and the commercial litigation. Sometimes if I'm applying for more academic things, I put the law and economics, I put the international trade. So you have to decide, pick and choose. I don't have to put everything at every point in time. It's also good to put in your thesis title. So Lola, your question needs a bit more context. How about PhD candidates? Did they ask for that? So I think I've moved from what you're asking. So I don't know what you're asking me. So you need to give me some explanation. So now this person also has a Bachelor of Copyright as an online course. This may not be necessary for your grad school resume. You understand? If it does not facilitate what you're trying to apply for. Now, another thing I had with this resume was there's a lot of spacing issues, there's just a lot of space. This can be more condensed. The font is a bit strange. Use a basic font, please. And also I've never seen a signature in a resume. So you need to understand what you are applying for and what resumes in the kind of program you're applying for look like. I'm going to try and speed through these because I'm actually getting tired. Hold on. Tommy says, what do you do when your thesis does not correlate with the course you're applying for? Sometimes if it doesn't correlate, I don't put it. If it doesn't have anything to do, I don't put it. You understand? So or I would just say obtained an A grade in, undergraduate dissertation. But to be quite frank, nobody expects you to be having the same, research interest from an undergrad all the way to PhD. So I think it's okay, even if your interest has changed. Benedicta says, what's the page limit for grad school application CV? It depends on your school. Most times they will give you an indication of how many pages it should be. So now let's go to this one. It says a keen, diligent professional. There's only like 3 people that are responding to me in the chat, and we're over almost 300. A keen, diligent professional with special interest in pharmacology and therapeutics, molecular processes implicated in disease states, as well as drug use and development. I am seeking for a place to provide further hands-on exposure and training in the area of pharmaceutical and medical research. I work effectively with teams and apply initiatives to solve problems at hand. Now, Ebere, yes, I'm making sense, but I want you to critique this thing. The first thing I noticed was, what does special interests mean? Are you saying you have expertise? Because let's not use words that, when we can use words that can sell us better. Do you have expertise? Why don't you say so, as opposed to special interest? You know, it's better to say you have expertise in that, as opposed to just an interest. Then in your professional summary, even though I know that sometimes we can put some things, I think it's better that you don't say exactly. Oh, Nafisa says she's sounding inferior in the second sentence. I'm seeking for a place to provide further hands-on exposure and training. Yes, everybody going to school is going to go and learn, but you don't have to say that. You have to make it seem like you have something to contribute to them in your summary. You instead say something like, looking to consolidate or looking to further consolidate practical experience in pharmaceutical and medical research developed, within the context of emerging African countries or something like that. But that way, or, that way you are sounding like you know what you're saying. You're not just going there to say, help me, help me, help me, help me. So you have to show the value you are bringing. You have to show that, oh, wow, this person has done pharmaceutical medical research within a developing country. And I give, in the book, I talk about what it means to be global and, the strategies for you to do that. I talk about that in more detail. So Esther says, can one still secure admission or scholarship for spring in the UK? I don't do that. This session is for September 2022. If you're working for a scholarship for spring UK, this work should have been done last year. So if you want to go to the UK for spring, you can go, but it is most like you're gonna have to pay your way through. So not with funding. So now, when you have your resume like this, the first thing shouldn't be these soft skills, because your hard skills are probably more important than the soft skills, And in fact, why don't you follow an established format of putting your education first? So this resume actually has a lot of information. I think the person even had a first-class degree, but this is what, having a first class without being able to sell yourself properly will not get you anywhere. And that's why we all need to we need to come correct. So if you had a 6.8/7, your resume needs to be looking so much better than this, right? So when you have if you have a 6.8/7, it's not just about listing that you had a 6.8/7. You need to put a few bullet points, like the first person did, of some of the things you achieved or some of the things that you learned while you were here. So this is a first-class person, but I wouldn't give this person admission based on the strength of their resume. We also have this WASIC. This doesn't mean anything, again, to your admissions committee. You don't need to put your high school. WASIC doesn't mean anything to the admissions committee. Now, this person has a lot of research and publications, and this is good because you can click on the research and they can check it out. But please make sure that your research is actually something that you're proud of. If you are putting any hyperlinks, if you're putting hyperlinks to your LinkedIn profile, just have it in mind that someone is going to click on it. There's some people who applied for jobs that it gets in, and when I clicked on the links that they provided, I decided not to invite them. They were better off not putting the links. So make sure that if you have any papers, make sure that they're papers that you're quite proud of. And it's great if you can actually get some papers, especially if you're going for a research program. So this is more of a very, very academic CV. Probably the person might even be thinking about a PhD, a direct PhD or something. So the only part I didn't have a problem with was with this part because they had completed and in progress. But there's a lot of, structural issues. So completed here as a semicolon, in progress doesn't have a semicolon. I notice these things. People notice these things. You may think people don't notice it, but they do. I would notice it as an academic if I'm reading your document and I'm seeing inconsistencies in your presentation. Now, this is the part that just took me off. Their work experience says Medic, Jenny, and Jesse Pharmacy, Chevy View Estate. I don't really know what the pharmacy is about. And, their role, pharmacist responsibilities include therapy, pharmaceutical care, medication. You can't do this. And not only that, they wrote all these different places that they've worked, and they just duplicated the same work experience. This is a first class graduate. You can do so much more. You have the academic background, but you're not presenting yourself well. And you won't be happy if you say, oh, somebody that did not have a first class, how come they're getting this opportunity? I'm not getting it. It's because your documents, your soldier is weak. So this soldier is a weak soldier, very, very weak, considering what the person has the capacity to do. So it's not everything you're going to list. You say you've worked in improvers as a research assistant. Okay, this might be helpful, but is it really? You've at the same time you're mixing so many things here. Nnamdi Azikiwe Hall, vice chairman of audit committee. How is that under your work experience? If you want to even put it in, why don't you put it as part of your volunteering? Right? So if you have some overlapping jobs, it's not everything that is going to be there. You know, you might need to take out some of these in an audit committee, UCH, industrial trainee, without telling us what's going on there. So this is a very brilliant student, but that hasn't, you know, presented themselves well at all. You're saying you're in the Ganglion initiative. I don't know what Ganglion does. Nobody knows what Ganglion does except you. All these things nobody knows except you. Personal and professional development certification. There's even a certification on child nutrition and cooking. You know, and even though it's from Stanford, I'm not sure to what extent this is useful in, you know, somebody who is doing pharmacy. So I really was concerned when I saw this, because this is a brilliant student. But if you don't know how to structure your documents well, you will just see that year in, year out, you'll be like that guy who had the first class. Year in, year out, you're just not getting anything. Delivery is completely not it at all. Okay, so if you are here, please, I've given you a few tips. Now, this is also another way that delivery is not good. And if your resume looks like this, you need to fix it. Number one, a resume, as I said, needs to be visually appealing. This person has a personal statement or a professional statement that I cannot even read. I promise you today, I haven't read this sentence, this paragraph, because it's too much. This is the exact opposite of lean. This is not a lean, mean machine at all. You know, you need to make sure that even if you have a summary, it shouldn't be more than 3 to 4 lines. And it's what the summary should do. And I teach this in a lot more detail, particularly when it comes to the essay introduction, which I may not go into as much today. Your work is to grab them in within the first 5 to 6 seconds. Your work is for them to say, oh, okay, what is this? Like, because they are bored reading all these many essays, your work is to be sunshine. So Lola, your personal document will not be reviewed with you in the bootcamp. I am emphasizing it. You have all the skills to do it yourself. So it will not be reviewed, please, you know, so that you know what you are getting in. Yeah, Christine, I'm tired because it's just like 10 o'clock now. I've been awake since like 4 in the morning because I couldn't, whenever I have a live session, I can't really sleep well because I'm always like so excited. I just want to come on live. So I couldn't really sleep. So I'm a little tired. Yes, you're right. So please, that's not it. I'm not giving you fish. I'm teaching you how to fish. What we would do is you are going to have the opportunity to have accountability buddies in the boot camp. That's the person that you're supposed to be working with. You are supposed to become friends. You're supposed to be sharing your documents with each other. You're supposed to be, you know, you're supposed to be helping each other, supporting each other, and all of that. So that's how it works. Please, I don't say what I don't do. I don't promise what I don't give. You need to develop your muscles, you know, to be able to you know, submit documents that are so solid. So as we were saying about this document, I can't even read it. So I'm not going to spend too much time. But let's look at this personal statement, this summary. It says, I am a passionate researcher. One of the words I hate the most in essays is passionate. Who is not passionate? So you can use these words, but you can only use them after you've shown your passion, not before. I am a passionate researcher in the area of health informatics, investigating the mechanisms and processes where relevant information is gathered, analyzed, and used in designing better health approaches to curb disease outbreak. I'm also interested in sourcing out relevant information that aid in curbing premature death, excess morbidity, poor quality of life, overall disparate health outcomes among individuals. I'm passionate about developing knowledge of only you. This is a clear case of no clear persona. Only you're passionate about all these things. I am diligent, innovative, sacrificial. Why are you sacrificial? You don't need that. You don't need to be sacrificial. and results-oriented with inborn natural leadership skill that's helped me to successfully train teenagers in the area of capacity building and self-discovery. No. Over time, I've been able to build a tolerable ability to work with various teams to achieve a common goal. The training got it from my academic and diverse work experience. No. No, 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 no. You understand? No. This personal statement is supposed to make them, if your personal statement or your summary does not make them feel like, who is this person? Like, wow. So this is where you hype yourself. So for me, I'm a lawyer, and what I put in my summary is something like, a commercial lawyer with XX, years of experience, advising on complex commercial transactions in emerging markets, blah, 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 like, or advising multinationals on complex commercial transactions in emerging markets, extensive experience in 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I say something about like being like a professional with like ethics or something like that. But my point is, I sell myself as somebody who has worked in 3 to 4, like, I have transnational experience across multiple continents. That's how I sell myself. So you know that my price is expensive. So Sheriff, I think you should describe your workplace in your CV. And in the bootcamp, I explain why it's very important. So all these achievements, all these things, let's just move on because we can't read this. Now, look at one of the things I wanted to highlight is you said education, modules. You now listed all the, why? You only need to list 3 to 4 that are most impactful. You understand? You don't need to do all of this. Then I saw this experience about Kindle Direct Publisher, editing and proofreading services. And I can see that it's also overlapping like other things that you've done. It may not be necessary to put this. Yes, maybe you've self-published or all of that. But if it is not academic work, you may not need this side of your life in your resume. The same way I say that, I don't put getting in every part of my resume. You don't need to do this. Now, another thing I noticed this person started doing was they started using numbers, but I found these pluses very, very distracting. So just say over 200, right? And then you say supplemented to lab techs to supervise. There are quite some typos here. We shouldn't be talking about typos. There are so many apps, and we even give you a list of apps that you can use to correct typos. So we're not going to talk about that. Now you're talking about participated in as one of the 100 mass choir members for Thanksgiving service organized by Ebonyi State government. How does this help your grad school application? I don't know. So please bear in mind, a grad school application is not where you cram all the information. You have to decide what your soldier is taking to battle. You have to decide what your soldier is taking to battle, and they cannot go with irrelevancies. You understand? So now let's look at this personal statement. We'll soon be done. I know you guys have been with me for almost an hour and a half now. Now, this personal statement, there are a lot of errors and typos, and I won't spend so much time on that. But one of the first thing, so Delali, you can put your freelancing work in your work experience if it will help and enhance your application. You understand? If it will help and enhance your application. Eitayo, you probably have experience that you can use. You're just not thinking about it as experience. You get. So think well. One of the things that we do in the bootcamp is actually have a workbook, and I ask you specific questions, and you now have to respond, and it will help you to think of like stories you can use, and things you can use to enhance your profile. So over the years, I've observed that policy implementation is one of the major problems confronting Nigeria as a nation. Okay, the end result of this advancement, another thing is you don't need to use big English if we're not getting what you are saying. The end result of this advancement really demands high quality knowledge and skills in policies and decision making. I don't understand what this person is saying. A lot of us think by using big English, we are convincing the admissions committee. You are confusing them. This person is also speaking as if the person who is reading it understands the problems in Nigeria. They don't. So when you say the problems in my country have made me decide to be a better person, they don't know the problems in your country. Okay? So public policies in Nigeria have failed, not has failed. So public policies in Nigeria, so this is probably what should have come first. You should have talked about public policies in Nigeria have failed largely as a result of corruption, bad leadership, and so on. And so for that, I hope we have a science example and I have not lied though, because I really just hope so. But honestly, you don't need you can use any of these examples will teach you. The pharmacy is not science, that's science, Joe. You know, you have to make sure that you are putting the information that they can understand as early as possible. So this could have probably given me more context as opposed to I've observed the policy implementations is a major challenge. I didn't get it. Looking at the system of governance in Nigeria, which has not been the best in recent years, I feel we the youth. Who is we? I'm not we with you. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not we with you. Who are we the youth? You understand what I'm saying? Who are we the youth? So the people do not only know the why of things, but would want transparent information that is transformative as engaging. There's a lot of English, but there's no message. You know, I don't understand what the message is. So your message got lost early. So this necessitated, so you think you are speaking big English, but you're not really communicating. This necessitated my desire to pursue a course in mass comm. Also, it is largely the reason for my interest in public affairs, blah, 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 blah. You know, so I just going to highlight a few things. It says in terms of research, my interests I mean, the typos, we shouldn't even be having these at all. My interests are identical to the interests of Professor Grunig. The skills that I have gained throughout my undergraduate career has prepared me for a PhD level training, given that I've successfully completed a thesis. In what? You said your interests are identical to the interests of Professor Grunig, but you haven't even explained what his research is and how you are connected. And this is a problem I see in a lot of essays. You mention people's names that you want to work with without demonstrating that you know their work. Let's stop doing that. Earning a PhD is required in order for me to achieve my future goals because it is academically and personally important to me. This is a crime. This is a crime. Of course, it's important to you to earn a PhD or to get a master's, but you don't write it like this. You don't write it in that it is important to me, but you talk about it in how it's going to make a change for other people, how it's going to make, how you're going to become like an alumni that will be notable in the future, or that can support the school, or the contribution you're going to be making to the school. You understand? So it's this just does not seem like the person knows why they want to do a PhD. It's required in order to achieve my future goals, but I'm not even clear on what your future goals are. One of the biggest challenges of this essay is also the problem of coherence, and I talk about that in the bootcamp as well. In that your essays must be telling a story where one paragraph leads to another. It's like they're climbing a ladder. You understand? It cannot just be like boom, boom, boom. They're going high, 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 high. So you can't just be talking about why you want to do a PhD, then you now go back and start talking about your final undergraduate project. So this again is out of context. I did a research on the roles of public relations in crisis management. No, let me be fair. A case study of Obia local government in Bayelsa, an oil-rich region of Nigeria. So this is an attempt to kind of explain what they're trying to say. You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, an oil-rich area, but it's not very clear. I understand the oil crisis, but do other people understand it? I don't know. So you need to make sure you are explaining. Again, you now start mentioning all the things that you've done without showing how it's connected to what you are applying for. I was awarded Shell. I went to this foundation. I volunteered here. To what end? How is it adding to your desire to do PR, mass comm? You understand? So you said, well, okay, volunteered in campaign and creating awareness. This is where you will now say, I deployed my ability to mobilize public relation tools to do this and, advance the cause of Geo Blue Foundation. That makes sense. But this list of things, this laundry list of things doesn't do anything for you. Another crime that a lot of people make is you write things like, in my 1 year National Youth Service. Again, context. They don't know. Even Ashwarya from India does not know what NYSC is. You know, our brothers and sisters from Botswana don't know what National Youth Service is. So please make sure that you can use the experience that you gained during National Youth Service. Please let's let the people in the waiting room in, but you shouldn't assume that everybody knows what this is about. Now let's look at the reason for going here. The University of Maryland College Park has been my choice of school. Why? It is situated in a good location with a dynamic metropolitan and serene environment that engages students in academic excellence with renowned professors and scholars who are willing to probe issues that will affect my future positively in the field of public affairs. Again, it's about you, not the change you want to make, not the impact you want to have, not how you're going to be a useful alumni. It's about you. It is also like they just copied and pasted what the school wrote about themselves and pasted it here. You know, so I'm sure if I Google University of Maryland, it will say University of Maryland is situated in a good location with a dynamic metropolitan and serene environment. You can't do that. Sometimes there's a way to use, and I do teach this too, there's a way to use the language. I remember when I was submitting my Oxford application, I kind of let them know that I believed in their vision of raising the next generation of leaders. I used it in like quotation marks as like a stylistic way. So there's a place for that, but not like this. Now let's go back to this Professor Groening. You've talked about them before. Seasoned faculty members. You know, seasoned faculty members who are compelled on the development of students with global points of view. How? Why? What work do they do? I don't know. So, again, this person, I don't want to work with this person because it just looks like, pardon me, the person is after themselves. You know, University of Maryland will provide me with the right knowledge, skills, and experience to pursue my dreams and exploit. You don't even exploit opportunities. Exploit opportunities to the fullest form. I'm even scared of these candidates, you know. So if I'm an admissions committee, I just like this person just wants to come and take from us and doesn't have anything to give us. In your essays, how have you shown them that you have something to offer? How have you shown them that you have something to contribute? Okay. So this one says, I'm a Bachelor of Technology. I completed a Bachelor of Technology degree in Electronic and Electrical Engineering from Ladoke Akitola University. Is this the best way to introduce yourself? I'm already bored. I'm bored. During my undergraduate days, I was taught various electronic and electrical engineering modules, such as control engineering principles, electromagnetic fields and waves, electric power principles, signal and system analysis, power electronics, etc. If all of these are not relevant to the course you're applying for, you're wasting space. With the above modules, working on assignments and group projects, I've been able to achieve, again, like at the bootcamp, I'm not teaching you guys about typos and errors. There's no need for that. Like we cannot be making those. There are apps that would literally help you pick out errors. So no reason for us making these errors. And if you have an accountability body, you people should be able to read your work and make sure you're not making these errors. I've been able to achieve excellent theoretical, practical, and analytical knowledge. All this big grammar to say what exactly. There's something I also teach, and I ask, I kind of explain, and I say that every word must earn its place. If you don't know what a word is doing there, it has not earned its place. Every word must earn its place. Now, with technological advancement, please, anytime you write I, let it be in capital letter. I must always be in capital letter, not small letters. Like these are small things. Like if you don't know this, how do I know you know the science? With technological advancements, I realized that professional education has its own benefits. Till date, I don't know anything about this candidate though. Till this second paragraph, I don't know what they want to do. I don't know what they're aiming for. I can't guess what is driving them. I don't know anything. You know, if from the first paragraph, you should your duty is to let your admissions committee know you, know what is driving you. They call it letter of motivation for a reason, letter of intent. You need to let them understand your heart. That is the point of these essays. So which is why when people, don't let me just tell you guys the secrets. The reason why Getting is so successful is because we have taught people how to show their heart in their essays. It's about showing your heart. It's about showing your personality. That is it. we are emotional creatures. I have read essays, I'll be like, this person don't chop me. This person has gotten me because the person has told me a story. And so my goal is to make all of you storytellers. There's no one who can tell your story better than you. You know your story. So your job is to become a storyteller, that the story is so sweet that they want to meet you. Once you do that, your grades don't matter. Like you can even tell a story about your grades and say, this is what is happening, this is what happened, this is, and if it is convincing and compelling, and you have shown that you have the ability, except some programs are very strict, which is understandable. But even when programs are strict, they always ask you, do you have any extenuating circumstances that we should consider? So if you explain why you didn't do well in school, and what you've done to bridge that gap, you can actually still get in. So I don't know, a lot of these aren't giving me good storytelling vibes. So with technological, and if you need to get someone to help you review or polish your story, you can go and ask them, but we don't do that anymore because we believe that it's best to teach you what to do, and we honestly cannot handle the demand that we get. We can't. And for me, providing excellent service is extremely important. So I said, let me take the bootcamp this year. Every single thing that we learn and we do that we use, we're going to put it there, and it's there for you. So you can go take it and implement. You don't need me. I'm not a magician. I'm a human being like you. I learned these things through experience. You can do it. My goal is for you to be so good that in your community, you are helping people. You are helping people from your university. You are helping them review their documents. They are getting in. All of us are getting in. All of us are winning. That's all I want. You don't need me. How many people can I help in a year? How many people can I help? But if you are empowered to help 10 people, another person is empowered to help 10 people, before we know it, the whole continent is pulled up. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not reviewing any documents this year. I'm sorry. Of course, I probably will review one or two. I usually have like people that I select depending on circumstances, but I cannot make any promises. I'm not reviewing any documents. I've taught you what you need, and you will review your documents yourself, okay? So if you need inspiration, come back to this session, watch it, apply to your session, right? Okay. Now, with technological advancements, I realized that professional education has its own benefits, but still not yet talking, especially in electrical field, to influence the electrical power in my home country. Oh my God. Influence positively the electrical power in my home country. What is the problem with what is the problem with, somebody said it is iPhone M and not, which is true. In fact, I always say, just write I am. Anyway, so I'm not even looking at typos here because those are just like the list of my problems, so I wish to have if at this stage you shouldn't be writing bad English. There are apps that are free that you can use. I wish to have my master's studies in electrical engineering institution, which is University of Saskatchewan. You can't even write their names in capital. This should be capital S, capital U, on a full-time basis, and fully engage in all activities that will contribute and expand me in my field of study. But we don't even know you. We don't know what's pushing you. So you said, I've had the privilege to work with Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. Didn't you apply for the job? Weren't you employed? Why was it a privilege? You instead you will say, I have extensive experience, and forget, let's stop talking about national service, please. Like, it shouldn't be here at all. I have experience working with the biggest electricity distribution company in Nigeria. You don't even need to say Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. Just tell us it's the biggest electricity distribution company in Nigeria, where you, in the course of your work, you noticed this problem that you want to solve, or you want to come and learn more in their school, right? So my work with these companies include the hourly reading of transformers and feeders. How does this work correlate with what you are trying to do? It's just like regular day-to-day work. It was during this period I observed most of the equipment, such as this are old. Okay, so these equipment are old. And so what? So you now said all this has led to epileptic power supply. And what you want to now do is if this elevated your desire to do something to control this occurrence. How do you plan to change this situation? So you are basically saying that and this is one of there's a document, there's a quick action document. If you join the bootcamp, I might just extend this for you guys. It's called 20 critical statement of purpose mistakes that you are making. This is one of the big ones. If you say that, everything was bad where you are, you don't want to come and say University of Saskatchewan, you want to come to University of Saskatchewan because it's credible, there's good educational facility for your study, there's well-structured master's plan that will provide a wide perspective of my field, your computer and electrical engineering department is appealing and all of that. So you want to come from a place that is so bad so that you will go there and spoil all their equipment, Abby? Is that what you want? You want to go there because you've said that everything that you were doing where you were working was terrible. Everything was bad. Everything was old. But you want to go to their own school to go and break their equipment. You don't do this. You don't say such a thing. Even if they were not good, there's a way to say it. You say that, even though Nigeria is one of the leading economies in Africa, we are still reliant on analog systems that blah blah blah. I've been conducting research into how systems can be upgraded, to do this, to do that. And that is the research I want to now continue at University of Saskatchewan. I will be able to, take advantage of the modern blah, blah, blah equipment and see how, in my research on so and so, see how to develop a low-cost solution that can be adapted to a developing climate, for goodness sake. Do you understand? Like, you can't just go there and say everything in my country is bad. It's bad though. Please come and save me. It's so bad. No, it's an opportunity for you to solve a problem. So you have to change your mindset and how you are speaking. Okay? So in fact, that way, if I am your potential supervisor, I will be very interested if you say, oh, you want to study how this particular technology can be adapted in a low-cost fashion for blah, blah, blah in rural communities in Africa. You are home and dry. The thing is delicious. It's delicious. You understand? So I am aware of the expertise of Professor Sherif Farid on power system. My interest lies in this area as I had worked previously on it during my master. What are you aware of his expertise? What did Professor Sherif Farid do on power system? You understand? So please, I hope I'm not being unnecessarily critical, and I hope this is helpful, but I'm also giving this example so that you can rethink about how to frame your stories. So if you're in the bootcamp, I'm thinking we will have a live review session. So if you have your documents early, we can do a review, hide your name like this. So that's like the closest you're going to get to a review. Okay. So Delali says, can a statement of purpose begin with a global problem and how you can contribute your expertise? Yes, and there's something I talk about, which is being glocal. Being glocal is the best thing you can do. You have a global problem, but you bring a local perspective that nobody else can, and that makes you unique, okay? So now let's keep moving. So now, I like this statement of purpose, and I asked a member of my team to just do a little work on it, just to show you a few things that can be changed. So it is not even yet, the edited version is not even yet in the state that I would like it, but it is a little step further along than this. And I will show you a few things that we changed, I will show you a few things that we changed so that you can understand. So this is not a bad statement. I just don't agree with starting your statement with all these big highfalutin statements. And in the bootcamp, I give you about 4 strategies of how to start your personal statement in a way that it will not be ignored. It works all the time. I use it all the time. It's like magic. It's like jazz. So if you say technological developments are integral to the current construction of complex mechanical systems, and Nigeria has not yet optimized this possibility to create a sustainable and efficient society, it is fine. But I actually would prefer that this sentence wasn't even there. I prefer that you start almost with the second sentence, and that's the same, correction that I would give you in the second version of this document. So it says, I was always puzzled about how to contribute to you. Obviously, the person has said Nigeria here, so that's why they said the nation. But try and always emphasize your country, because your own nation is different from their own nation. So if you want to be clear, if you want to say Nigeria, if you want to say Africa, say it. Don't assume you're not from the same nation. Our people, they're not your people. So be careful of that language. I was always puzzled about how to contribute to the nation's development until I had my first experience of career day in high school. There are a few grammatical issues, but it's okay. So I'm beginning to learn more about this person, okay? I was captivated by the speaker's description of mechanical engineering as a lucrative and versatile engineering field. I don't agree with the word lucrative, but let's move. That finds application in all human endeavors. This resonated with me because I was a fan of a television program, How It's Made. This program explains mechanical engineering impact in the manufacture of numerous things such as industrial products, food, clothing, and accessories. These two experiences piqued my interest in integrating scientific insights and practical applications to solving problems. Now, this is one of the better essays. However, I would have said that this essay should actually start by talking about the television program. And for you guys, that might seem strange, but that is how to catch attention. So if I were to write this essay, and I teach you how to do this, if I were to write this essay, I would probably say something funny, like this is on the first draft. It's just the first draft off the top of my head. You have to refine it as it comes along. But I'll probably say something like, I proved my mother wrong that watching television could lead to a fruitful life. Something like that, because the first thing when somebody is reading that is like, what is this? And that means that the person will want to read more. Something about, my mom is something like that, something random like that. Like my mom is or something like, I'm just coming off of saying this off the top of my head. Something like, at family gatherings, we always have a laugh about how watching television sparked my career in engineering. It's over. It's over for everybody. That's the end. You have gotten it. If you start your introduction like that, the first thing you have done is you've captured the attention of the admissions committee, right? So you say, they're just like, or you can say, or during Christmas, Christmas is never complete without a funny story about how my excessive, watching television as a teenager sparked my, a successful career in engineering. And then you now say, I was a fan of a television program, How It's Made, which showed this and this and that. Coupled with, you now say, this, my interest in engineering just became heightened when I actually met an engineer at a career day. And since then, I decided to study, engineering in order to solve life's problems from mechanical engineering, in order to solve various life problems from, I would say something stupid again, from like, a paper clip, having the right size of a paper clip to building a nuclear reactor, something like that. Personality is what sells in your essays. Am I making sense to you guys, or is this going above your heads as to why my approach is better than technological advancements are integral to the current construction of complex mechanical systems, and Nigeria has not yet recognized the possibility to create a sustainable, efficient society? You understand what I'm saying? So it is still this person's story, but when you are your introduction is so powerful. And in the bootcamp, I show you how to different ways you can start and different strategies that you can use to start. One mistake people make though, when they now get into storytelling, is you will now write 2.5 pages of stories. Don't do that. Your story needs to be like 5 lines, but that story must just, it will just bring them in like this, bam, it's over. It's over. You understand what I'm saying? That is it. The only problem with those who write stories well, who are able to write a good story, is sometimes some of you make mistakes in your course, your country, and your school selection. So that even if your story is the best, if you've not chosen the right schools, the right courses, and you've not done your scholarship strategy, you won't win. So this thing, there are different layers to it. Last week, we talked about scholarship strategies. So if you combine that with this one now, you are on the right track. So I was always puzzled about how to contribute to national development. So you get what I'm saying? So that's how I didn't have enough time to work on this essay, but that's how I would start this essay. Something like that, something very captivating, something very endearing, and one of the, that strategy that I've just used is the A strategy in the card strategy. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because I need to leave something for the people in my boot camp. But I'm just going to say that me talking about Christmas dinner is something that everybody understands. They can feel connected with me already because I have brought something that they can relate with. And that's your second job in your application. To, not only contextualize, anyway, let's move on. Before my bootcamp people will say that I'm giving all the tips for free. So in line with my interest in mechanical engineering, my undergraduate thesis was based on development of biogas digester, with the objective of developing an affordable home-sized biogas digester fueled by cow dung. Okay, I see what you're saying. You're giving examples of what you've done. In your research, I learned the various theories. I also discovered biogas does this. Okay, my recently concluded study allowed me to participate in departmental projects. I won't say it though, lie, most of which I spearheaded, engaged myself. So I like that the person actually tried to say that they led the projects, which was good, but I would have also kind of let them show teamwork. At the same time, they actually did say these projects enhance my communication skills, leadership skills, and team spirit. Okay, the only problem I had with this was I didn't see there was no contextualization of the achievements of these your projects. Like you did numerous courses, and so to what end? So there was actually a lot of information here. I could say that this person has tried. The person also highlighted some of the skills that they had, CAD skills and all of that. I concluded that the mechanical engineering program of Clarkson University would best prepare me for my goal, as it will increase my knowledge of materials and energy systems, it is one of the best colleges, My goal is to apply my knowledge to contribute to the imperative innovations that would not come into existence without the creativity of mechanical engineering profession. I get that, but a bit more specific goal would have been helpful. So now, so this is an attempt, I'm just very dramatic with my approach, and I think it works very well. So this is an attempt to kind of change it a little bit, to humanize them a bit, but not using the Christmas example. One of the things that I tell you guys I tell people a lot about essays is that it takes time to write a good essay. So yesterday, this is where my brain, or my team's brain was. But today, as I've sat down and thought about it, my brain has moved to a different level, multi-upgrade. I've upgraded my approach. You understand what I'm saying? So you need to start writing your essays early, because it can be when you are in the shower that perfect introduction is going to come to you. Right? So what we did was we took away this technological developments and integral to and tried to still humanize this person. I think everybody has gone to high school. So I was a high school student when I first learned about mechanical engineering. This is okay, but it's not yet at the 100% that I like. My school had organized a career fair. One of the guest speakers was a mechanical engineer. I still recall his enthusiastic speech about the relevance of mechanical engineering to all aspects of life. Already a big fan of the television program How It's Made, my interest in engineering soared after the fair. I relentlessly looked forward to new episodes of the program. This one would just make me laugh. So I could watch how mechanical engineering concepts were applied, in factories and manufacturing plants for the production of household items. When it was time to choose an undergraduate course in university, I enthusiastically chose to study mechanical engineering. I was eager to understand how engineering-driven innovations could be used for problem solving. They've told you their purpose. I was interested in mechanical engineering, and I became eager to solve problems with mechanical engineering. All right. So I'm just going to leave the middle because the most important thing is the end. I thought the middle was okay, but you know, we needed to put more context to it. Now let's talk about the end. It says, I have decided to apply for a master's in mechanical engineering at Clarkson because of its unique blend of required engineering courses, as well as MBA electives available to complement my technical expertise. It is clear that this person has done better research than somebody who is just saying that they have a 2020 ranking. And what I would do a step further is to say, not only is, you know, it's not only, for me, the kind of persona I would create with this is that it's not only about creating engineering solutions, it's also about selling them. It's also about deploying them to people. It's also about making sure your solutions reach people. And that's why an MBA in understanding, you know, or doing some MBA modules. In fact, I would not even add like a developing country perspective to it as well, you know. And that's why doing like some of these MBA modules while you're doing your master's in engineering will give you the business acumen needed for you to scale your engineering solutions in developing countries. If you need the bootcamp, please can we put the bootcamp link? A couple of people are DMing me. Please ask your questions in the general chat. I can't respond, you know. I mean, I know how to multitask, but I can't do both. Please, can you put the link to the bootcamp in case anybody wants to join us? So I have really, 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 really taken my time, right, on this beautiful Saturday morning to teach you guys some things that will help. I have done that. And I do this out of a huge sense of obligation. You may not see me on Twitter all the time. I'm not always talking. No. I don't do that all the time because I'm hustling. I'm chasing my own goals. I'm not very much on Twitter. If you want to hear from me, I'm on Instagram sometimes. And oftentimes I just go off social media. But if you've learned this, if you learned anything from this, I need you to tell other people about Getting and the work we're doing. You understand? I believe that you can have access to the biggest opportunities in the world. You can have access. What you need is the right mindset, the right approach. And if you don't take anything from here today, remember that your responsibility, Miriam is fighting her own battle. Miss, I'm still hustling. You understand? Miriam cannot carry your burden more than you. You are the one who knows what you want for yourself. But what I have done is to teach in the bootcamp everything you could possibly need. And now we're coming up with an accountability group to put you with like-minded people so that you can level up together. You need to own this journey. You need to make sure that your soldier is on point. So I encourage you guys, if you can join the bootcamp, it's fine. If you can't join the bootcamp, just let people know about this session. We're going to try and make the replay available. Let them watch it. I don't need to do a Twitter thread every day. When you join the bootcamp, because how many things am I going to tell you? It's the same strategy. When you join the bootcamp, you're going to learn. In fact, it's everything from choosing the right school, course, and country, being strategic about that, how to search for scholarships. I teach you how to do that. Be strategic about that. We're going to give you a lot of resources. One of the things that we're doing in the bootcamp this year is we're going to be sending you lists of schools that you need to look at. Okay? So every other week in the accountability group, even if you say, I don't know, everybody, we're all applying to the same schools, you know, and I'm being very honest with you. Everybody wants to come to Canada. There are only 20-something schools in Canada. Wising up. The US is where it's at. I'm telling you. So if you're applying to schools, and I'm saying this for everybody to hear, if you're applying to schools and you want to apply only to Canadian schools, you're playing a risky game. So even these strategies is what we talk about. You can, from the US, you can go anywhere in the world. You understand? So you would apply to all these different schools. We talk about safety schools, you know, your rich schools, your match schools. We talk about it's a complete thing. So if you want to go end to end, you don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to be choosing schools that at the end of the day, you will not be able to go. then come and join us. So the way the bootcamp is structured is that it's an online course where you're going to get access to the course for 3 weeks. And I put a timeline because I want you to finish it. If I give you access for 3 months, you won't watch it. So after 3 weeks, we will cut you off. So you must watch it within 3 weeks. You must finish it, use your workbook within 3 weeks. If you want to do it on the weekends, 3 weekends is enough. You do it within 3 weeks. After the 3 weeks, we now start a 2-month accountability group where you now start to implement. We start to guide you and say, okay, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done that? You understand what I'm saying? And then we connect you with, accountability partners. You can choose or we can assign one to you. So that's how it's going to work. And you guys, we're all going to lift each other up. During the boot camp, during the 2-month accountability group, we're going to be having 1 or 2 live sessions, right? We can have the documents review session. We're also going to have like some of the past scholars come and talk to us. So I encourage you to join us if you can. This is probably the best investment that you can make for your grad school journey. But even if you can't join for any reason, I dare you to, if you haven't watched last week's session, please DM Getting Edu, right? Getting Edu. I'm going to go and nap now because I've been up since morning. But even if you can't join us for whatever reason, I just dare you to take what we taught last week and take what we've taught this week and see if there won't be a difference in your application. Of course, the people who have come for the bootcamp are probably going to have even a better application than yours, but you will have a better application than if you don't implement any of those things that I've told you. So I really wish you guys all the best. If you have any questions or any comments, please go in the chat. I can look at the chat now.